let's pull this article up because I want to read through this. This was the one that you had tweeted out, I believe, the other day.
Okay.
The Hill document, right? Or the Hill article. So Biden said he will try to move on gun control during lame duck session, right? Before we go any further, can you tell like what kind of Google searching I've been doing lately? Based off of my ads. Oh. It's all just First Light. It's all First Light. They got a hell of a Black Friday thing going on right now. So it's soup. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. I just got all this car money. I'm not going to do it.
No. Get you a car
I'm really tempted, but I'm not going to do
first.
it. Exactly. I'm going to go out to dinner tonight to celebrate, ideally. Depending on when wifey gets home.
It's Friday. She'll be open. It's Black Friday. She'll
be
open.
She'll be open. I'm just, depending on how many beers we have later, she might have to drive me, but that's fine. Right. Anyways. President Biden on Thursday said he would try to pass a bill banning assault rifles during the lame duck session before Congress forms, before the new Congress forms, I should say. Despite long odds due to Republican opposition, Biden spoke to reporters Thanksgiving morning, coming after a week that saw 3 mass shootings in the U.S.
They also
do this, Colorado, the Walmart.
I don't know. They do this
and
thing,
probably Chicago.
They do this thing where when they make headlines of there have been, 600 something mass shootings this year in America. Okay, like half of those, like you said, are in inner cities where you're talking about not just gang violence, but just general mass shootings where people are targeting one person and they fucking hit 5 other people.
Yep.
Like, because anything depending on your
definition,
it's depending on it is 2 or 3.
Yeah.
2 or 3 or more people. Like, so, and I'm not saying like, oh my God, there's only 3 people. It's 3 people that are dead, but you're still talking about one person being targeted, multiple people being killed, children die in their homes all the time because of fucking fly-through bullets. That happens all the time because people indiscriminately shoot around. We've covered articles, I believe in Chicago, maybe Detroit, where they call it mutual combat because they're shooting at each other across the street.
Yep.
What are we talking
that was
about?
Chicago.
So that's half of what you're talking about. Yep. Legitimately half. Just like when you're talking about the amount of gun deaths every year, half of those are suicides. And that does not erase the fact that people are dying, but those are not homicides perpetrated with a firearm.
Gun violence.
Those are people taking their own deaths with a firearm. So
you can't equate the same. They're not even similar to the same two.
Ways that they fudge the statistics and skirt them to work them in their favor to try and make it seem like this is the solution, this is the problem.
How many mass shootings sounds dark.
Well, they will never, ever, ever cover the amount of people that use firearms for defense on a yearly basis because it's a 250,000 on the low end. It's 250,000 people on a yearly basis defensive use of firearms. There's 65,000+ people that are killed every year with firearms, including the suicides. We're talking about 250,000 people who defend their firearms with themselves with firearms every year in the United States. These numbers are
reported ones.
Reported ones. That's why it's on the low end.
Yeah.
These numbers are not the same.
That doesn't include the mom with her kid in the car who somebody tries to come grab her purse or whatever, and she pulls a gun out and then the guy runs.
It does not differentiate between a handgun, a long rifle, a shotgun. It doesn't differentiate. That's the times that people used a firearm to defend themselves and then told the cops about it. These are these times. It's 250,000 on the low end.
Well, I wonder, according to the... I don't even care that much because we know the 2 big ones. Obviously, the 2 big shootings that happened over the last week, Colorado and the Walmart one. Which the Walmart one was...
So the manager of Walmart, right?
Yeah, he's a night manager of Walmart. The reason they're not really digging into it too much is because he is a member of an oppressed class.
He's black, right? He's a person of color.
Yeah, but...
And you said he had a manifesto. He had like some type of note thing on his phone about fucking hating everyone.
Yeah,
right?
he published this thing. He wrote it up right before he was going to do this, and it was basically he got made fun of all the time. He got belittled at work all the time, and he fucking hates everybody. And then he got into some weird religious stuff, and then killed a bunch of people at the store. But I mean, that's somebody being bullied that obviously has something else going on in their world. And it just adds on to the pile, and then they lose their shit.
They chose violence as a way to try and deal with their problem when it doesn't solve anything.
Nope.
He's dead. Other people are dead.
Because after he shot, I think it was six or seven people, he turned the gun on himself and then killed them. So he killed all the people that have been giving him shit, and then killed himself. which there's no narrative to be ran down for the media on that one, so it's dying pretty quick. And then obviously the Colorado, they had that complication of their lawyer coming out and saying that the perpetrator
part of the community
is a they them, and
he's part of the community.
He's part of the community, and so all of a sudden, no more narrative talk on that one.
Because how can you argue that
it was a hate
crime, or because of violent rhetoric when this person is part of this community, part of the people who are targeted by the violent rhetoric.
Yeah,
and that's been the deal, right? You were saying it's the rhetoric. Yeah, that's what the problem is the violent rhetoric.
Yeah.
It's a great word. Well,
rhetoric. That's where we and I don't know why now, because it's been out for a minute, but like we understand what's going on. He's going to try to put out an assault rifle ban.
And their deal is like, because now there's been multiple people that have called for them. I have some other representative that's like the youngest representative ever that's right about to come into office. He's already like, we need to do an assault weapons ban. Even if it's not going to pass, we need to put people on the record. For what?
For what?
You want to waste time? You want to waste time for what? To solve what? Because you know who is and isn't going to do it? For what? You don't want to have a real intelligent conversation about why this might or might not be a good policy. You just want to put people on blast so you can put a list on the internet and say, these people don't care about people being killed by guns.
Yeah.
When that's not the reality of what's happening. It's ridiculous. It's a political point, and it's a political fucking nonsense. They're going to waste time. He's going to waste taxpayer dollars, right? His first order of business, the first thing he's going to do with taxpayer dollars is fucking waste it on a vote that he knows isn't going to go anywhere, so he can try and put people on blast when we can already get a pretty good guess of who's going to vote what way.
Yeah, it's governmental virtue signaling. But one of the main things I want to bring up about this, the rhetoric, all this stuff that's been coming out lately is it's not new, but the media's adoption and pushing of it as something new is stochastic terrorism being the new deal now. Stochastic terrorism. Have you? No. Oh, buddy. Yeah, you're not as plugged into like Twitter and shit as me. I always forget.
No, bro, we're on Instagram.
Stochastic.
I'm not into any of my own social media anymore. I'm into our social media.
That's right, baby. Stochastic terrorism is it's not new, but they're dubbing it a lot. The public demonization of a person or group resulting in the incitement of a violent act, which is statistically probable.
Okay.
Yeah, probable, but whose specifics cannot be predicted. Rhetoric. Okay. The
which
public
is statistically
demonization
probable, but whose specifics cannot be predicted.
Yes.
That's
the lone wolf attack was apparently influenced by the rhetoric of stochastic terrorism. So in other words, it's the rhetoric. The rhetoric is causing stochastic terrorism. You sit here and you talk about like groomers, or you talk about this and the other thing, and that is stochastic terrorism, because somebody might do a thing against another group of people, which they can then trace back to the rhetoric around such thing. It's a few levels deeper than domestic violent extremism.
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. This is not a good. You shouldn't be doing that.
Welcome to the age of stochastic terrorism.
Yeah, the politics is not as definite as you guys might think it is. You shouldn't be doing that. There's a lot of, a lot of these guys.
Do you guys know what you're saying?
Yeah, a lot of these guys are on your team too. This is not a good way to go. That black dude, he might be on your team if you would have asked him about it. He's fucking dead now, so we don't know.
Yep. That's why we don't talk about it.
Come on, bro. That's not a... You shouldn't be doing that. That's not going to work. That is not going to go the way
sounds
that
real
they
good,
want
though.
to. And it's so open-ended, but whose results cannot be predicted.
Yes.
We couldn't have foreseen at the time that this was going to happen.
Sean Hannity, stochastic terrorism.
It's only now that the event has happened that we can see that this is what has precipitated it. That's not good. That
Joy Behar and the people on The View are going to have a field day with that.
That's some real doublespeak shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Baby. We got to make up some new shit.
Yeah, we didn't know at the time that you were a terrorist, but now that we saw the event,
Yeah,
we
can trace
realized
it back.
that you were really being a terrorist at the time.
Yeah.
And so, we have this Patriot Act thing, and we just started looking into all of your information because Mayorkas is using an expanded view of the Patriot Act, because this is the new way that terrorism exerts itself. It's no longer just through foreign domestic or foreign Muslim extremists, right? Islamic extremism. This is now domestic violent extremism. It's extremism that is expressing itself through cyber attacks, through these different militia groups, these different organizations.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it now in these violent attacks.
Yeah.
And it's being precipitated not just through
And if
the
you-
internet,
and if
but
you
also
talk
through
about it-
Sean Hannity. Yeah.
And if you talk about it, it's stochastic terrorism.
If this person happens to cite you in their fucking
Or if we can
manifesto,
or if we can link their actions to something that you have talked about.
if y'all use the same words and shit.
If we look back and we
Dudes.
saw that he watched Fox News and
Dudes.
watched Sean Hannity, then you're just spewing stochastic terrorism. Welcome to 1984, bitch. Gets darker every time.
That's dangerous business.
Yeah, bud.
That's dangerous business to be playing with.
Keep your ears open for stochastic terrorism.
You guys,
lately. It's becoming new.
Everything we just said. If you've been listening to just the last couple episodes, you've heard us talk about all of those things, right? You've seen it sounds like a funny hypothetical story. We've covered stories in the last 4 or 5 episodes that connect all of those circles, all those dots into a circle. Sorry, that's rough business, bro.
That's rough business, B. I'm glad I got to introduce you to stochastic terrorism.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it's a whole deal. Over the coming weeks, you'll hear a lot about it in the daily shows. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think the last one I have on guns is actually kind of tying up the circle that I was talking about earlier of crime, right? The same politicians pushing for the removal and banning of various firearms belong to the same party putting DAs into office that are soft on crime and help these violent crimes from happening, fulfilling their own fantasy circumstances to try and push this legislation. Crime raises during national strife, over coverage of threats of democracy and domestic extremists is all meant to make American people comfortable with stronger shows of force from the state.
So the idea is to make it bad enough that they want the state to have a bigger footprint.
Crime is bad. Don't cover it. So it's just indiscriminate crime. It's undescribed crime. Crime is on the rise. It's horrific. But we are covering domestic violent extremists, and these guys are also against democracy. They also don't want you to have a voice in your own government, and they might kill you because crime is on the rise. Shit is getting wild. Don't pay attention to all those bodega videos because that's all nonsense, right?
I saw this one the other day. It was so good.
Right then, you're comfortable when you're scared that your democracy is going to be taken away and that you might be killed when you go to vote because we're making it illegal to have a gun around a polling center, right? Because people want to kill you when you go to vote. They want to scare you. They want to threaten you, right? That's why we have to make this illegal, is because people want to scare you. Now you're comfortable with stronger shows of force from the state.
Don't tell me I didn't fucking save this video. I didn't, for fuck's sakes. Fact check, true. I do wonder. There's like a weird side effect to this, right? Because look at the impact of what happens in these cities where these DAs come in and stuff like that, and crime fucking skyrockets and all this shit.
Cut the cops and shit.
You cut the cops. You have your DAs not enforce petty crime, whatever. You get these fucking gang lootings or whatever you want to call it, whatever those are.
Everyone steal less than $1,000.
Exactly. You get all that stuff. You got homeless people fucking everywhere, rampant open drug markets. I mean, vandalism, break-ins. I mean, it's a giant cluster, right? But what this does as a byproduct as well is anybody with 2 cents they have to rub together will leave the city.
Right.
And then you just have a bunch of fucking sheeple left over that are refusing to leave, that either think it's okay or who are stuck there by circumstance. And those are the people that at that point you can oppress. Like the work's already done for you. Anybody that was smart enough, they fucking, or had the means, they left.
Right.
And all your pushback's gone now. Because either people don't have the means to push back or they generally agree with you. And then you're free to move about the cabin.
They also
the fucking seatbelt sign is off, bro.
They also expect more government services, more government intervention. They want you to take care of them. They want Big Daddy State to take care of them. They want that.
Yep.
And then that's how you know who's the enemy and who is the good guy.
Hey everybody, Colin here from Salt the Streets. Thank you for watching today's edition of Salty Shorts. If you liked what you saw, please be sure to check out the full episode right here on the Salt of the Streets YouTube channel. Please give us a like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to share this with all your friends. And you too can become a spreader of the message of liberty. Thanks.
Welcome to the Salt of the Streets, coming at you